143 yards. So that's pretty heavy-duty work for him. You can see the short back, scat back, very effective on AstroTurf. On the other side of the coin, the Indianapolis Colts have Eric Dickerson running the ball for them. He's 6'3" and 224 pounds, a stand-up runner who runs daylight like a sprinter. But he said he had a chance to see Barry Sanders once as a spectator. He's pretty excited. He's pretty exciting. He's excited about playing today.
Well, the Colts will receive and have it first, and it's taken by Verdun at the 6-yard line. He can scat. Good start for the winless Colts out to their 45-yard line. The 44 will make it. Melvin Jenkins making the tackle. A 38-yard return, and second-year quarterback Jeff George brings on the Colts offense. Decimated across the front by injuries. Zephyrus Moss at left tackle, Paris at left guard. Baldinger for the injured Jeff Donaldson, Dixon, Call, and Cash. Dickerson, the running back, with Anthony Johnson, and Brooks and Hester are the wide receivers. Johnson for a first down, Colts to the 45-yard line of the Lions. Defensively for the Lions, Mark Spindler, Jerry Ball, and Dan Owen. Ball playing with a hamstring injury. Jameson, Spielman, Dennis Gibson, Tracy Hayworth for the injured Michael Cofer. In the secondary of Crockett and Jenkins on the corners, Blades and White, the safeties. A secondary that has been playing better and better with each game over the last couple of years. Tracy Hayworth, the first start for this young man, a second-year player from Tennessee. Number 99 on the right side for the injured Michael Cofer, who's out with knee and rib injuries. He is inactive today. Dickerson, blockers pushed back into the backfield, and he is buried for a loss. Jerry Ball drops him back at the 46-yard line, a loss of 7.
The critics this year have been saying that Eric Dickerson is a stop-and-start runner, but see what happens to him here at 29 taking the ball. The offensive line is pushed back. You can see 79 there. Bubba Terrace is pushed back into the backfield. He can't make the turn. And here comes Jerry Ball, who's been out with a hamstring injury for the Detroit Lions, and I think that Jerry Ball is the best nose tackle in football. But Eric Dickerson is having trouble getting to the line of scrimmage.
Ball has practiced only once this past week, and it was late in the week, nursing that hamstring injury. Dickerson dropped again by Ball in the backfield. Got just short of the line of scrimmage. And the Bluebirds out here at the Hoosier Dome already. But again, we must remember that the Colts offensive line has just been absolutely hammered by injuries. Jerry Ball, for a guy that only practiced once, off to a good start in this game.
Oh, yeah, he's one of these guys who goes all out on every play, and when he can't play that way, of course, he's disappointed last week. He was in uniform against the Miami Dolphins, couldn't play because of the hamstring pull, and today he's really anxious to get back. He's an auto broker during the offseason. We asked him about that. Yeah, I'm pretty big in this car business.
Third down and 17. George, flush. Complete. Brooks, first down, Lions 30. That's a big play for the young quarterback.
Real big play, Tim. When you have trouble with your offensive line trying to get protection, one way to get a pass going is to roll out, and this is what George does. He gets outside, has plenty of time, and zips that ball up to Billy Brooks. Brooks has his little fingers on both hands what does he have?
Dislocated.
Dislocated. Yeah, you can't straighten them out. It's really the funniest thing to see a receiver with hands like that, but it doesn't bother him.
A first down for the Colts at the 30-yard line after 2 consecutive running losses by Eric Dickerson. George has a first down. Dickerson out of the backfield, hit immediately with a gain of close to 5. Jameson, the linebacker, 58 on the hit. Eric Dickerson, who had 77 yards last week in the losing effort to the Raiders, 201 on the season, has also caught 20 passes. And he doesn't really like to catch that many, but if they can get him some open room to run in after he catches it, then he's at his best.
He doesn't like to catch the ball with his back to the defense like that particular play there. He did get it. He said back. Hey, having my back turned to the defense, and I want to turn upfield and take off with it.
2nd and 5, Colts. Dickerson, first down, inside the 20. William White forced him out. Colts opening series showing some of their best offense of the year.
Pretty impressive when you consider how decimated the Colt offensive line is. Kevin Call, the right tackle, and Randy Dixon, who Kevin Call is reasonably healthy, has got a bad foot. We know that, but Randy Dixon's had a problem with his calf, and it's just been like a mash operation here with the Colts this year.
Well, they lost Irv Pankey, at least for a game or two, with an Achilles injury. Started last week at left tackle. They've got Moss back there where he played a year ago. Bubba Paris, a converted tackle, now playing guard. Brian Baldinger for the injured Ray Donaldson, who's gone for the year. As you mentioned, Dixon with a calf injury, Call with a toe injury. The blitz, and down goes Jeff George. A clear shot from Jamison back to the 30-yard line. Nobody touched him early.
Well, what happens, Tim, when you have a single back offense and the back goes away, no one can block the linebacker on the weak side. Here, number 29, you see that Dickerson swings out of the back. He should have stayed in there. Take a beat. If the linebacker comes, stay in and protect the quarterback. But Dickerson swings out, and therefore the gate is open, and George is in trouble. Easy shot for Jamison.
He spotted at the 29-yard line. Sheldon White comes in along with Bruce Alexander. 6 backs into the Lions. 4 wide receivers for the Colts. George steps up and goes deep and overthrows his man Hester. Stride for stride with Hester was Melvin Jenkins, number 24. But George used the pocket well that time, standing up, just overthrew his receiver.
Well, they've been concentrating on their running backs for the most part in their passing game. That's one reason why George's stats and percentage is so high. But they want to go deep. They want to get upfield with the ball because he's an accurate, long passer. He does a very good job throwing the ball deep.
They got the one to Brooks earlier to keep the drive going after the 2 running play losses. Now he's faced with 3rd and long again. Brooks, Johnson, Hester, and Verdun, the receiving corps. Johnson, the running back, will frequently run from the wide-out position. He's in motion. Quick pass, wide open. Verdun. "25-yard gain. Nice-looking play to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal." Well, young Jeff George has got a frown on the face of Wayne Fonts, the Lions coach. Opening drive of the Indianapolis Colts. Well, the Lions have come up with 3 good defensive plays on this series. George has come right back to keep things moving. Play action intended for the tight end Cash, but he was under pressure, and it looked to me like he just threw that one out.
Yeah, he had a choice here. He wanted to make sure he didn't lose his field position. If he's open, fine, hit him. But otherwise, just throw the ball out of bounds. A heady decision.
Ron Meyer, head coach of the Colts. They've only been inside the 23 times in 3 games. They must be excited to be here.
Yeah, they only got 1 field goal out. But anytime you get inside the 20s, you come up with at least 3. They've only been down there 3 times. And certainly, your offense has been disappointed in that.
This is the 11th play of the drive, and they've taken 5:44 off the clock. Dickerson, touchdown.
Goal line defenses, the defensive line will pitch inside and try to take away all the gaps. Dickerson does a great job finding the open spot. He wanted to go off his left guard. There wasn't anything there, so he bent back to the hole, found the crease for the touchdown. An outstanding run.
Dean Biasucci for the point after. Indianapolis Colts take the ball down the field on the opening series and hold a 7-0 lead. We'll be back in a moment. Well, 9:13 still to play here at Indianapolis. The Lions have yet to have the ball offensively. Tim Ryan and Irv Frost. There's the man who put up the point. Eric Dickerson from 2 yards out. An opening drive that featured a kickoff return to the 44 by Clarence Verdun. And then Verdun, a 25-yard pass play. 2 big plays in the drive that have given the Colts the lead. Yasuchi to kick it off. The deep man is Mel Gray. And it's taken by John Overton at the 10-yard line. Overton, first-year running back for the Lions, out to the 31-yard line. So decent field position for Detroit. A 16-yard return. Rodney Peete will bring out the Lions. They are 2-1, and he is playing well. Rodney Peete last week against Miami, 13 of 24, a touchdown and interception, passing at 55%. And his line is in good shape. Brown, Andalsick, Glover, Utley, and Sanders. Barry Sanders, the running back, and the wide receivers, Perriman from New Orleans, Clark, Farr, and Willie Green. Play action on first down, a 5-yard gain out the left side of Brent Perriman. Perriman, who came over from the Saints, as we said, in a trade earlier this season. Former Miami star. Colts defensively, also a 3-4 alignment. Donald Thompson, Travis Davis, John Hand. Linebackers, Quintus McDonald for the injured Chip Banks, who may get in today. Radisick, Harrod, and Bickett. Chris Good, Daniel on the corners. Pryor and Ball are the safeties. And the main man out there in the middle, Jeff Harrod, number 54, you'll be seeing lots of activity from him today. Barry Sanders on a little draw. Gets the first down. Colts actually played that pretty well, but there's Sanders with that individual effort again.
They shut off the point of attack, Sam. It's amazing. That's the thing that's really so amazing about Sanders. He makes yardage where the average back would be knocked down for losses. That play was shut off, and he bounced out to the outside, came up with a big play for the Lions, and he does it all the time.
Turned it into an 8-yard gain, Irv, and John Hand had a whack at him there on the corner, and he got away from him. Finally, Daniel pushed him out. First down, Lions. Play action again. Peete, deep sideline, and picked off. Chris Good. For Mike Farr, and Good had tight coverage. Maybe an ill-advised throw.
It was, Tim. It was not a very good throw at all, because Good had Farr step for step along the sideline, had good inside position. When the ball went up, no one could kick it but Good. Comes up with a key interception. Now the Colts are playing a variety of nickel coverages out here against this run and shoot of the Silver Stretch offense, and came up with a big play there.
24-yard return for Good, and a first down Colts at the 36-yard line of Detroit. George finds an open man. Superb play by the second-year quarterback, and a first down at the 20-yard line. It is Anthony Johnson, and George, who looked out to his left. Watch this one, Irv.
The key here, Tim, is he had plenty of time to throw the ball. He's in the pocket, pumps left, and comes back, rolls to his right. He told us yesterday if he could get 2.5 seconds to throw time, he'd be happy with that. That time he had close to 4, and you saw the result.
Yeah, he wasn't saying he wouldn't like more. He was just saying he'd accept 2.5 if he could get it. If it had anything approaching that. First 3 games. First down. Play action. George nowhere to go with the ball. Takes it out of bounds. He'll lose a couple of yards on the play. Good coverage downfield by the Lions on that one. George is 5 of 7 passing.
I'll tell you the thing that impresses me about him, though, Tim, he has a great deal of composure. He plays the game like he's been around a long time. He's only had really one full year of pro football under his belt, but he doesn't throw very many interceptions. He's thrown about 67 or 68 passes in a row now without an interception, so he's very careful with the football.
White and Alexander into the secondary. Verdun in as a wide receiver. 3 wide outs for the Colts. Hester, 84 in motion. Complete to Hester inside the 5. Loose ball. But it is the Colts. Jesse Hester, first and goal.
This is just an outstanding play. George has to split the seam here between the linebacker and defensive back, and watch him drill this thing right in there. Benny Blades coming up to defend, and Melvin Jenkins coming up from his corner spot. Finally makes a tackle, but that was a perfectly thrown football, Tim.
Hester, as you saw, dropped the ball when he hit the ground, but unfortunately it rolled right back to him. First and goal, Colts. Dickerson, about a yard. Pulled down by Dan Owens, the right defensive end, number 90. Second and goal.
The Lions came up with an outstanding goal line stand against the Miami Dolphins last week, which really pumped this club up. The Detroit Lions defense, in any case, they felt that if they can do that against Miami, we can do it against anybody. Here they are now, their backs against the wall, with another opportunity for a goal line stand.
Play action has been effective for George, and that one incomplete, intended for the tight end James Coley. Coley just acquired this week, a free agent, cut by the Bears when they lost Pat Beach to injured reserve. Kerry Cash, a rookie, became the starter. So Coley, in the short yardage down at the goal line, left the ball behind him.
Really interesting talking to Coley yesterday. He says, I have to teach these guys how to win. He just got here, you know, he's coming out of that Bear organization. It's a different feeling. You really, Tim, when you're with a winning organization, you go into every game expecting to win. You don't go in saying we have a problem here, a problem there. You say, let's go in and beat this guy, beat these guys.
Third and goal from the 3-yard line. Hester, Verdun, and Brooks. Anthony Johnson lines up as a wide out. Come back to the short side with Dickerson and a good defensive. The Lions, no doubt remembering a week ago against Miami, Benny Blades made the tackle. Number 36.
Really a mark of a great defense, Tim, when you get down in this kind of territory that you begrudgingly give up an inch. Here the Lions do a good job here. You can see number 97 coming in there to shut down the play. Jeff Hunter closes everything down, so Dickerson really can't get inside where he wants to go. Here comes his teammate, George Jameson, making a tackle.
Diasucci will attempt from the 11-yard line. Ron Stark will hold her. A 21-yard kick. Diasucci has been struggling this year. Has a chip shot for 3. So the Indianapolis Colts, opening drive touchdown, an interception turned into a field goal. They lead by 10. Got to feel pretty good about what they've done on the first 2 drives.
Well, I talked to him during the pregame warm-up, Tim. He says, I'm disappointed in the offense. I'm sure the owner's disappointed in the offense. We have to get together and get things going again mechanically. It looks like they're back on track.
Lions have had the ball for only a minute and 3 so far in this game. Interception by Pete in their first series, coughing it up. L. Gray near the 5, forced wide, and skitters his way out to the 17-yard line, stopped there by Matt Jaworski, reserve linebacker. And Rodney Peake will bring on the Detroit Lions in an effort to get something going here when we return to the Hoosier Dome.
This year, and an article in the newspaper yesterday. There's a headline right there, and I talked to Bob Hursley on the elevator coming up to the booth here, Tim, prior to the game. He says that our offense is offensive. We have to get started. So apparently he has to be pleased with what he's seen so far. Dan Burtnett, the man who was really under the gun, has to also feel a little more relaxed right now, seeing 2 impressive drives here.
Well, Rodney Peake's got to stay relaxed because he's thrown the first interception that set up the second score, the field goal by the Colts. And the Lions have not had a chance to move the ball. So Rodney Peake now brings him out from the 16, make it the 17-yard line, first down. Now Farr in motion. Pete for Farr. Nice catch by Farr. Mike Farr, pardon me. Makes the catch at the 24-yard line. There's a brother and a father named Mel, and of course, it was interesting reading about this youngster. He was born the day his dad won the NFL Rookie of the Year award back in '67 as a former Lion.
I played against his dad in 1967, and what an impressive football player he was. And now he's a very successful businessman. And Mike, as a matter of fact, is going into business with his dad in the auto dealership business. Very proud of the fact that he could work with his dad in that business, and told a great deal about it last night.
Yeah, brother Mel has a dealership in Cincinnati, owned by the family, so very successful in the automotive world. Second down and 4. Good play action, a lot of time left to the tight end Cannell, Derek Cannell. There's a guy you're saying who? Number 46, four-year man out of UCLA, but signed as a free agent this year when Wayne Fonts decided to add a tight end to his lineup. And in certain situations, usually the short yardage stuff is when they've been putting these guys in, unlike last year, the last couple of years when Miles Davis was in charge of the offense.
Well, he has a variety of looks he likes to give to his offense. He has a formation called an ace formation, where you have a tight end and 3 wide receivers. That time they were in the ace formation, giving them the ability to either run or pass. That time they threw it to the tight end.
Michael Ball made the tackle, and so the tight end Cannell gets into the action. Sliding up for a gain of about 4 yards. Good coverage downfield by the Colts. Got Radisic, the linebacker, number 97, covered Pete at the end of his fly.
Really interesting, Tim, what Detroit is doing right now. They're showing, again, a variety of looks in their offensive front, but then coming back and throwing the football. They had a formation there. It looked like it might be a run-type formation, but you can see the Colts were heads up for it. Scott Radisic coming up with a key play for them.
4-man front defensively now for the Colts. Mel Agee, a rookie from Illinois, joins the front three. Pete quickly out to Farr. Farr trying to get to the marker, and they'll probably spot him just short. He down about a half a yard short of the first down, but into Indianapolis territory at the 49.
The old adage you hear all the time, take what the defense gives you. Pete this time would like to go to Farr. And Michael Ball, who's playing in a strong safety spot, is a pretty good tackler. He's played the corner position in college and does a good job in one-on-one coverage. Comes up with a key play there.
Michael Ball is fourth year out of Southern University. Third down and about a yard to go for a first. And this has been a very important stat for the Lions. High percentage in the last 2 games after that shutout loss to Washington. Barry Sanders, and Sanders has the first down. Running behind Eric Andelsek, the left guard. So the Lions keep their drive going. Radisic and Harrod making the tackle. Now they're going to measure this, but it does appear from our view that Detroit will have a first down.
In case people are wondering, as long as the ball touches the inside of the pole, it's a first down. Doesn't have to go beyond the pole. Just inside of it, it's a first down.
Tim Ryan with Herb Cross at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. Indoor football today. The Colts jumping into an early lead, scoring on their opening drive, and then an interception by Good, setting up a field goal by Dean Biasucci. Lions have it in Colts territory. First down. Barry Sanders. It's about 3, but can't shake off Jeff Harrod, one of the strongest linebackers in the league.
One of the strongest players, of course, on this Colts football team. Harrod told us he was a little disappointed that he went so low in the draft. He was picked in the 9th round, and he thought he's a much better football player than that. People thought he was too short, too slow, and not strong enough. Let me tell you something. The guy can bench press quite a bit of weight. Bench press about 500 pounds and squat 740 pounds and runs a 4.5 40. He's a load.
Second down and 8. Another first down, Lions to the 35-yard line. An 11-yard pass to Brett Perriman. And we have zeros up on the clock. That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Colts 10, the Lions. Eric Dickerson. Pardon me, that led to the field goal. Dickerson scored the touchdown on the opening drive. First down, Lions. Working right to left now. Rodney Peete takes off and picks up 5. And the Colts defensive people were afraid of exactly that kind of thing. They respect his running ability. He said it's like having 2 running backs with only one of them lined up behind the quarterback.
I think man on the line for the Colts and is responsible for containment. When you play against a guy like Rodney Peete, you want to make sure if you're a defensive end, you come upfield with the idea of keeping him in the pocket because he is dangerous once he gets outside.
Second down and 5. Sanders forced wide, but turns it upfield and will be close to the first down. He's got it.
It's really funny watching him run, Tim. You sometimes feel like he's just toying with the defenders. He does a couple of things. When he was a kid, he used to play tag, you know, and the idea was to make sure that people didn't touch him. He doesn't want people to touch him when he's carrying the football. So that's where he developed his the stride he has now, the stop and start routine. And it's really exciting to watch him carry the football.
Well, it sure is. Derek Cannell is in the lineup again, along with Roman Fortin, one of the formations utilizing some extra beef in there for the Lions for the first down at the 25 of Indianapolis. Sanders with blockers. Pinned at the 12, but another Lions first down. Radisic finally got him. Nice looking play there.
Very impressive play, Tim. The Lions came up with something they call a King's 2, which is a formation with 3 people to the one side, 3 people, 3 receivers to the right side. You can see them on your screen right now, but it's a middle screen. As Pete comes back, he'll go ahead and dump the ball off to Barry Sanders right up the gut, where he finds lots of daylight.
Baylor and Grant come into the secondary for the Colts. Mel Agee makes it a 4-man front. First down, Detroit. Pete for Sanders again out of the backfield and spins back. It's only about 3. And coverage by the Colts. Keith Taylor, number 27, pinned him near the 10-yard line. Keith Taylor, number 27, his brother John, the well-known receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, Pro Bowler last year.
Outstanding player for the Colts. But, you know, in college, he missed 1 year in college because he had a broken neck in a car accident. But he apparently recovered from that and has been very effective there with the Colts.
Over from the Saints back in 88 as a free agent. Second down and 9. They can get a first down at the 1. Draw play to Sanders. Sanders works his way down to the 7-yard line where Jeff Harrod makes the tackle.
Wayne Fonz told us that he likes to run Sanders ideally maybe 20, 25 times a game. Now, last week he was overworked with 32 carries, but he said if he has to run them 32 times, he will, depending on the pace of the football game. Right now, it looks like Wayne Fonz is being forced to give Sanders extra work.
13th play of this drive, more than 7 minutes off the clock. Third down. Pete on the option, touchdown. Rodney Peete and Rick Venturi, the Colts defensive coordinator, was afraid of that kind of work by Pete.
You talk about having another defender. What he does is come down the field and put the pressure on the defensive end. He has to come up and commit. If he takes the running back Sanders, then Pete runs. If he stays off the line, then he picks the ball off the Sanders. And watch this. The end comes down inside, so there's a gap right now. So he has an alley to run through. The option now here is either pitch out or run. He elects to run. 6 points for Detroit.
Eddie Murray for the point after. And that's automatic for him. With 11:46 still to play in the first half, the Colts now lead 10-7. Run by that man, Rodney Peete, the quarterback, on the option play, and they've reduced the margin to 10-7. Clarence Verdun, the deep man, and he set up the first score with two big plays, 38-yard return, and this time Murray kicks it high and short out the left side where Alan Grant is dropped immediately by Bruce Alexander at the 25-yard line. And we'll return to the Hoosier Dome in a moment. Run has closed the margin to just 3. Harry Sanders leading Eric Dickerson in the running department at this point in the game. George, screen to Verdun. Owen cuts him out beautifully, eluding the block and dropping him for a loss at close to 5. And for an NFL update, let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Tim, late first quarter at Cincinnati, James Brooks goes 5 yards for the touchdown. The 0-3 Bengals lead the 3-0 Redskins 7-3. They've now started the second quarter. Back to Tim and Irv at the Hoosier Dome.
All right, Greg. Cincinnati, as desperate as the Colts, I think, Irvin, they've got a tall order playing Washington.
Yeah, but Joe Gibbs has been warning the Redskins all week long. Don't take these guys for granted. And he was really concerned going into Cincinnati, and now you can see why.
Second and 14 after the loss on the screenplay try. George gets out to Johnson. Anthony Johnson eludes the tackle and picks up 5 more. Getting away from Bruce Alexander, number 32. Good effort by the former Notre Dame star Anthony Thompson. 11-yard gain will leave third and about 4.
Tim, the key here is that number 54, Spielman, comes in on a dog, but the offensive line does a good job picking it up, giving George a chance to look upfield for his receiver, Anthony Johnson. Here comes 54. Johnson breaks off his pattern, makes the catch, because he's the leading receiver here for the team, and keeps that Colts drive alive.
Lawrence Peete in on the nose for Jerry Ball. Ball tried to get himself on the field the last play. It was called back. And the Colts have a first down. Dickerson stopped by Owens, but not before he got the necessary yardage. Now Ball comes on.
Wayne Ponce told us that if Jerry Ball looks like he's slowing down, it's not because he's loafering or anything. It's because he may be a little tired, because he hasn't had a lot of heavy work in the last few weeks. He pulled a hamstring muscle against the Green Bay Packers in the Silverdome, and hasn't had a chance to work very much. So here he's getting his first workout in about 2 weeks, and he may be a little tired.
Just one practice this past week, so they spelled him here the last few plays with Lawrence Peete. Jerry Ball's back out there. Dickerson. 2 Lions converge on him. He still picks up close to 5. Gibson and Jameson, the linebackers, made the stop.
I asked Eric how he felt about being a pass receiver in this offense. He said, well, I'd rather run the football, but I just want to get the ball in my hands anywhere I can. And when he throw it to me, I hope he would throw it to me facing the offense and not having my back to the defense. I hate being hit in the back. He's been hit in the back a couple of times in his pass receptions today.
Second down, a long 5 for Colts. 9:04 remaining, first half. Indianapolis leading 7. George flicks it out there for a first down to Johnson. Johnson came into this game with 21 catches.
A running back like Johnson puts a lot of pressure on a defense, because you can go out there with your normal offensive formation, but then you split him out as a wide receiver, and all of a sudden you've got a situation with 3 wide receivers. He's very effective catching the football. So here you are in your normal defense trying to defend a team like this. He comes out of a running back spot as a wide receiver, and you got a mismatch. Look at this.
Filling the considerable shoes of Alfred Bentley, who's gone for the season on injured reserve, but Johnson has come up to the task so far. First down, Colts. Dickerson trying to get wide. Flag down. First penalty of the game thrown in the Colts backfield as Dickerson picked up about 6.
Tim, I think his penalty is going to be called on Bubba Pearson. We'll see what the referee calls here.
Pat Haggerty, the referee, with his first TV action today.
Holding, number 79. Offense, still first down.
You had it.
I'll tell you what's happening here, Tim. Bubba, number 79, played for the San Francisco 49ers for 9 years. And the 8 years, and he had a different kind of numbering system. They go even to the right, odd to the left. Now, the Colts system is just the opposite. And sometimes he has trouble with that. And I really believe that on a play like that, when you have to pull and leave the play, you get a little awkward. You grab.
So it's first and 20. George, tight end screen to Cash. And Kerry Cash, the rookie for Texas, from Texas, has a close to a first down. 17 yards on the play.
Very effective play, Tim. Kerry Cash is an outstanding receiver in college at Texas, where he caught 71 passes there and set a record for tight ends and still stands. But this guy has good hands. He can run with the football once he gets it. Again, the key here is he died on his block. Everybody thought I was going to run. He run, and here he is. The pass receiver.
Cash injured on the play. This Spielman made the tackle. Now that reduces their tight end situation to only James Coley, who's only been here for part of the week. And a timeout call. With Irv Cross at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. A well-played game to this point. 7:27 remaining. The Colts on top by 3. Kerry Cash, the rookie tight end from Texas, injured on his first career catch. And James Coley comes into the ball game, acquired last week after being cut by the Chicago Bears. And that's the first catch by a tight end this season for the Colts. But Cash is out of there, and there is no backup now to Coley. Cash can't return. George Tripp has got the ball out to Dickerson. First down. Colts. Flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Tim, that's what you call trying to make something out of nothing. It was a busted play, so they say in pro football. And here comes Haggard to give us the call on the penalty. Again, pressure up front. Jerry Ball, number 93, penetrates. You see, he beats the center, beats Ballinger badly, and he's back there in the backfield with Dickerson almost before he got the handoff. And really, the Colts were really lucky to get that ball out of there without having it fumbled or something.
Penalty was against James Coley, who just came in to replace Kerry Cash. And again, Coley has not had much work yet. Signed late in the week when Pat Beach was placed on injured reserve. Lawrence Pete comes in for Jerry Ball. It was Ball who knocked Ryan Baldinger back into the quarterback on the play. 2nd and 11. George gets good time. Trying to find an open man, just swings it off in the direction of Jesse Hester. 3rd down, 11. Hester with a big catch in the opening drive that led to the Colts' first touchdown in 11 quarters. Very confident young man, this second-year man from Illinois. 11 of 15 today here in the first half. When you talk to him, you get the feeling that he knows he has a big future as an NFL quarterback. Went to high school in this area, used to come over and work out. The coaches here loved the look of him even then.
Yeah, it was funny. He came out to practice as a high school kid. He said he was the best quarterback out there, better than the Colts quarterbacks at the time.
And we won't name them. Flag down as George threw that one away under pressure from 2 on-rushing Lions, Tracy Hayworth and Kelvin Pritchett. And they're going to call, I am sure, illegal grounding of the ball. Kerry Cash, you can see, disappointed heading to the locker room. That's a devastating blow. Yet another for this decimated offensive line.
Number 11, 4th down. What about it?
Intentional grounding. George arguing it, but you can't unload when you're being threatened by a sack, and that was certainly the case there. 2 guys were about to drop him, and indeed they did. Well, doubleheader day on CBS, and coming up, a big one in the NFC West. The Rams trying to crank it up against the 49ers today, and some doubters even about the 49ers. Steve Young still the quarterback, and Jim Everett trying to get it going for the Rams.
Because I don't have any doubt about the 49ers. The big question mark now is what's happened to Jim Everett. I mean, he hasn't been able to do much in the passing game in the last 2 weeks.
Von Stark punt, taken at the 25-yard line. Big hole for Mel Gray, and Gray scoops out to the 45-yard line. Good field position for the Lions. Anthony Johnson stopped him, but Detroit will have the ball when we return. Stone, the outstanding all-purpose offensive performer of the Lions, and there's an indication of how all-purpose he is.
Everybody talks about how important special teams play is, and stop and think about the Verdun kickoff for the Colts, what it did to them. Put them on the scoreboard in a hurry.
Janelle and Fortin in now as they have the big guys on first down at their own 45-yard line following the punt return by Mel Gray. Sanders for about 3. Travis Davis, the nose tackle, number 95, made the stop. 6:26 to go in the first half. Philadelphia on top of Pittsburgh, 1-0. The Cardinals scoreless. The Cubs, American League, Boston suddenly a force, a factor in that pennant race. Half game behind Toronto. Second down, 6. A lot of time to Brett Perriman. Perriman trying to get to the marker. He'll be short by at least a yard. Eugene Daniel had the coverage. Cornerback number 38. Captain of the defensive squad of the Colts. Rodney Peete. Rodney Peete was drafted. Some of the guys drafted ahead of him were named Mike Elkins, Billy Joe Tolliver, Anthony Dillway, Eric Wilhelm, Jeff Carlson, and Jeff Francis. Where are they now? None of them are starting in the NFL.
The only guy who is starting, who was drafted ahead of him, is Troy Aikman.
7 in a row for Rodney Peete. His only miss was an intercept. That'll be close to a first down. Sanders. They spot the ball on the marker. First down, Lions. They spot it on the 45-yard line.
Following up on that Pete story, though, Tim, that he feels he belongs in the upper echelon of the quarterbacks. He had a bad day the first game, but he feels this is a pivotal year for him. He's established himself as a leader with this Lion offense, and if he can take charge this year, he can hit that $1 million bracket as a quarterback because many people think that's where he should be.
First down, trailing by 3. Peete forced wide. Downfield and nearly picked off. Intended for Robert Clark. And it was Chris Good, who already has the only interception, knocking it away.
The Colts have an interesting philosophy defensively, Tim. When you talk to the defensive coordinator, Rick Venturi, he says, we want to keep these guys in the box. By that he means that the defensive back will stay deep and squeeze, and that's what they do very well. Chris Good covering one-on-one out there. Didn't allow him to get behind him.
Don't give up the big play, the essence of that philosophy.
Exactly.
Second and 10. In and out of the hands of Mike Farr. A little too much deep. Rodney Peete for Farr to handle on that one. Third down.
Here's where Rodney Peete stood with the other quarterback. They picked in the 6th round. Rippon, you can see where he's a 6th round pick. Wade Wilson, 8th round pick. But Jeff Kemp, the free agent, and on the bottom of the class, we like what Mark Rippon's doing all right in Washington, and Pete is catching on here in Detroit.
Well, all those guys, low-round picks, who are now starters in the NFL. Pete very much among that successful group. Third and 10. Interception. Eugene Daniel.
disguised this defense. He thought he had his man deep there, but Daniel came up in a short zone and then dropped off, covered deep, picked it off just as though he was the intended receiver. Great disguise by the Colts. Center field, they're waiting for it to come down, and he wanted to cradle it very carefully, but simply lost sight of the ball. You see, fighting off the line here with against Ray Crockett is a good one-on-one defender. Now he breaks open in the zone. And watch, the ball's lofted high. He's just waiting for it to come down, and missed it. Boy.
2nd and 10 for the Colts, and from the shotgun now. That's complete to Verdun, but not much on the play. The linebackers responding, and the defensive end Owens holding it to a gain of about a yard, maybe less.
Jim, the thing I'm most impressed about today in watching the Colts is the fact that their offensive line is giving George all the time he needs to set up and deliver the football. They've done a good job up there against the Lions. Now, the Lions are not noted to be a great pass rush team with their front three, but they do bring good heat with their linebackers. But today, the Colts have picked up every one of those Red Dogs and have done a good job protecting George.
Detroit, it should be noted, without their best pass rusher, Michael Cofer, out with a knee and rib injury, replaced by second-year man Tracy Hayward. Got a rush on this time, and he just gets it away, nearly intercepted. A diving Ray Crockett nearly picked off George, and the Colts will have to punt. Hayworth with a good charge on. So Ron Stark comes in for his second punt. Mel Gray standing back at his 15-yard line, ever dangerous as a return man. Huge punt by Scott, backs him up to the 7-yard line. And a good return by Gray out to the 23, a 53-yard punt, a 19-yard return. Matt Jaworski made the tackle. Gray gets such a terrific start. He pushes off as soon as he has the ball in his hands. He's just a treat to watch. Well, next Sunday, more doubleheader action on CBS Sports and some big games. The Bears and Buffalo, everybody's got to look forward to that. 49ers at the Raiders, and they'll be facing some new faces in new places. Of course, Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig are now wearing the Raider black and silver, and the red and gold of the 49ers. And that rivalry out in California, one of our feature games next week. Sanders stopped cold this time after a gain of about a yard by John Hand, defensive end number 78.
The Colts have had a lot of success with their inside linebacker play to keep Sanders under control. Sanders is kind of back, Tim, where he wants to go inside and didn't bounce out. You know, he has that great acceleration and burst, but because they have people like Herod, number 54, and Scott Radicic, 97, as inside linebackers, they're able to seal off those gaps and force him really to go a little wider than he wants.
A draw play to Sanders. Good coverage by the Colts, holding to another 2 yards, leading 3rd and 6.
This is what I'm talking about, Tim. When you have that 3-4 set, the inside linebackers can key on the remaining back. Number 54, Rod's assignment here is to spy and check Sanders wherever he goes. Now here he comes up, breaking a potential blocker there by Utley and making the play on Sanders, because Sanders in this set is his man.
We have a timeout on the field at the 2-minute warning. We'll be back at the Hoosier Dome in a moment.
The defensive back who ever played, who ever admitted to committing a foul, particularly pass interference, is a foul.
We got a 3rd down Lions here. Key one with 2 minutes to go. First half, they trail by 3. Clean pass. Harriman. First down, Lions. Well executed. Out to the 39-yard line of Detroit.
Quick screen to the backside. The key here, Tim, really is to get this interior line to block, set a couple of counts, and get outside form the wall for the ball for the receiver. Perriman, number 80, he dives in there. Here come the lineman, falls behind that wall of blockers for a nice gain.
Sanders on first down gets about 3. So far, the Colts have done a good job of containing Barry Sanders. He'll get his yards, mind you. The rod on the tackle again, so the man has been tracking him and he's doing well. Flags everywhere on second down.
Tim, you're absolutely right about Sanders, though. What the Colts want to do, Sanders, they know that he's going to...
75, offense, ball starts prior to snap.
Lomas Brown was hit with that penalty, but they know he's going to get his yardage. But you want him to get up at 3-4 to crack. 3-4, make him carry the ball 30 times, not have that 30 or 40-yard gainer. He's not known for the big run anyway, but he's a guy who, if he gets the 2s and the 3s, and you put a lot of hats on him, maybe at the end of the day, he might start to wear down a little.
So make it 2nd and 12 after the penalty to Brown. Pete gets time. Deep sideline. It's complete to Farr. And it'll leave 3rd down and about 4. 1:03 on the clock. 9-yard gainer to Mike Farr, the second-year receiver from UCLA, a free agent a year ago. We haven't seen rookie Herman Moore as yet, the number 1 choice this year, as they're going for the bigger receivers for the run and shoot, as we expect to see him in the game. 3rd down and 4. Draw play to Sanders. Sanders will be close to the 1st down. Rod again on the tackle. Well, as Harrod is following Sanders around, the Lions are going to have
categories, but when you look at Jeff Harrod and you talk to him and you see how he plays football, he reminds you a great deal of Mike Singletary with the Chicago Bears. But he said, I'm taller than Singletary. He's a short guy, but this guy is an outstanding football player, and his reputation will be widely known soon, I believe.
He's led the Colts in tackles the last 2 years. He leads them again this year with 39 coming into the game, 25 solos, a pair of sacks. And he was drafted in the 9th round in 1988, and that still rankles him. I mean, that's all he wanted to talk about was how he thought he should have been drafted higher, and he's trying to prove it.
He's an outstanding athlete. He's also the first cousin of Mr. T, an entertainer who has quite a reputation as well, too. So we don't talk to everybody, each other on a regular basis, but he is my first cousin. One time he came out to a game and surprised me.
So the Lions have the 1st down, 49 seconds left. The ball approaching midfield at the Detroit 49. Pickett putting pressure on Pete, his old teammate at USC, and he has to throw it out of bounds.
The people are booing because they felt, Jeff George was called for intentional grounding when he threw a ball away under pressure. Now Pete does the same thing and doesn't get the flag. But Dwayne Bickett, you're right, and Rodney Pete know each other very well. Bickett was a senior at USC when Pete was a freshman there running the scout team. So Bickett is accustomed to beating up on Pete as the quarterback. So I guess he was reminded of his old USC days when he was old out there.
Bickett right behind Rod. They've got 2 outstanding linebackers here. And good job on Barry Sanders. Ball came loose, but apparently
could wipe him out. It happened to be Dwayne Bickett.
30 seconds remaining, and the Colts doing a good job defensively in the 2-minute drill. Well, when our football activity is finished today, join us for our evening's entertainment on CBS. 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and then Donna Mills stars in the CBS Sunday movie Runaway Father. It's a new motion picture made for television based on the story of Pat Bennett and her struggle to support her 3 daughters when they're abandoned by their father. All ahead this evening. And there is a man who has been a somewhat forgotten Heisman Trophy winner because of the continued progress of Rodney Peete.
Really a funny situation because he was drafted number 1 by the Lions, and everybody expected him to come into Detroit and do a big job. But the last year or so, he seems to have regressed and not progressed, and as a result, he's backing up Peete.
3rd down, close to 15 for Rodney Peete. He's got Clark open, 1st down to the 32-yard line. Well, there's one reason why Pete's keeping Ware on the bench. What a pass.
He's really accurate. Again, given time to throw, He's a very active quarterback. A little on the short side, though, at only 6 feet tall, but he drops back quickly, has a real strong arm. Now, Robert Clark did the story on him a couple of weeks ago with his bad hands. His hands are better now than they were then, but he still has those bruised fingers. It's impressive. Every time he catches the ball, I can see what enough is.
23-yard gain. First down, Lions. 25 seconds left. Pete tails it up for Perriman. Out of bounds. He caught it out of bounds. Incomplete. Seconds on the clock. And you can see on the replay there, Perriman unable to make the catch with 2 feet inbounds, and so it is 2nd and 10. But the clock stopped with 19 seconds left. 11th play of this drive for the Lions. One timeout remaining for them to try and at least tie things up by halftime. Eddie Murray awaiting his chance to do so. Sanders, and again Herod gives him a good pop after he was set up by Mel Agee, who made the initial contact, the rookie from Illinois. 8 seconds left. Counting down, and clock is stopped with 2 seconds remaining. This is too far for Eddie Murray. The punter Arnold on the field. Well, no, wait a minute. Oh, Murray's coming on. Well, coming up at halftime, the NFL Today, Greg and Terry scores and highlights, and a feature on Not Me Ref. How guys complain after they've been flagged and try to talk their way out of it.
Sometimes you get away with it. Not me, ref. You do it convincingly, they look at you and say, well, maybe you didn't do it. They put the flag back in their pocket. Doesn't happen often, but sometimes you get away with it.
48-yard try for Eddie Murray coming up at the long of 46. I thought it was going to be longer than that, so this is within his range. He's got a 46-yarder, and of course, like the Silverdome, he's taking it indoors. Arnold, the punter, will hold. No good. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Colts 10 and the Lions. Series of play. Eric Dickerson, the man you saw there live on the sideline, you now see on videotape, taking it in from 2 yards out to give them an early 7-0 lead. They added a field goal following an interception by Chris Good, and then the Lions got on the board. Rodney Peete on an option play going 7 yards for the score to make it 10-7 as we stand now waiting the beginning of the second half. Tim Ryan with their cross here at the Hoosier Dome. And Irv, certainly you have to be impressed by the way the Colts are playing in every aspect of their game. They have a decimated offensive line, and their defense doing a good job on Sanders.
Yeah, I've been looking at the offensive line pretty closely because, they have been wrecked up front, but they've given Jeff George plenty of time to throw the football. And defensively, they came in here leading the AFC as a defensive unit, and I thought, well, maybe that was because of the quality of the competition they played, but they have a pretty sound unit on defense, Tim.
No doubt about it. And both quarterbacks have done well today, except for those 2 picks suffered by Rodney Peete. Otherwise, he's been very sharp, but those were costly, one leading to a field goal, the other one they were able to escape any further scoring, but of course it blunted their offensive drive. Jeff George, the second-year man, who's a very mature young quarterback, talking to him at practice on Friday, just seemed confident about his future and the fact that if he can get some time, as you said, Herb, just 2.5 seconds is all he's asking for a pass, that he can get the job done. Well, he's doing it. Mel Gray will be the beat man on this kickoff as the Lions will have the ball to open the second half. Rushing the yardage, you can see the Colts have not done much there. Remember, Dickerson was thrown for losses twice in that opening series, but George got them down into the end zone, with Dickerson taking it in from 2 yards out. Isuchi's kickoff will be taken by Gray at the 5. Hit at the 20-yard line by number 97, Scott Radisich, the linebacker. And a fired-up Colts special team here. This kind of spirit and attitude with these players trying to win this as much for their coach Ron Myers for themselves, because of course the continued talk after an 0-3 start that his job may be in jeopardy. You're always Pete brings down the line.
You're always cautious of a team that comes in with that kind of an attitude. They have their backs against the wall. But Rodney Peete also knows that he has pretty good balance in his offense, but he can't turn the ball over. He had 2 interceptions in the first half that were costly plays.
Still virtually an even game, a 3-point deficit. Lions have the ball to open the second half. Sanders, here's Bobbleman. Cutting it back, worms his way for a gain of about 5. A near miscue on the exchange between Peete and Sanders. John Hand and Scott Radicic stopping Sanders on that play. And we've got the tight end, Derek Cannell, number 46, in on this second down play. Go to the weak side. Sanders into traffic there. Can't get to the marker. He'll be shortened by about a yard.
I talked to Barry Sanders, Tim, about why he has his hands taped. Now, you think a ball carrier who handles the ball as much as he does would have trouble holding onto the football, so he's never had a problem with it, but he tapes his hands because he gets so many bruises on the back side of his hands when he hits the astroturf. So as a result of that, he's got these little pads in the back of his hands, and he tapes them up like boxers. So you've seen that a million times in boxing, and it doesn't seem to bother him at all.
Yeah, that's, of course, a totally different reason for the boxers, but nonetheless, it's still protection. Third down and a yard. Lions. Sanders trying to hold a squirt through, and it's going to be close. Good defensive reaction by Donald Thompson, the left defensive end, 99, and Herod, who's been in on virtually every tackle of Sanders today.
Donald Thompson is really an imposing and impressive defensive lineman. He's a big man, about 280 pounds. And last year, wound up missing some time because of a foot injury, but when he's healthy and playing well, he's a load.
And it's the linebacker, Scott. No, it's the cornerback, Chris Good, who's down, number 37. 5-year man from Alabama.
This is a coach's nightmare. You can never quite put your finger on why these injuries developed. I know the Colts went into camp this year in pretty good shape. They signed everybody early, so all the players reported to training camp, and Coach Meyer was happy about that. Then he picked up the tempo in training camp, saying we're going to be tougher and in better shape when we come out. So he had more contact work in training camp this year than he's ever had. And he thought when the season started, he'd come in with a pretty tough team ready to go, but he has had nothing but a rash of injuries, and you can't put your finger on it.
They're still attending to Chris Good. As you can see, we'll take a timeout and be right back.
Pretend your TV.
Power heading back to the bench. We're happy to report for all football fans and take a look back and see what happens here.
Number 97 is his teammate, Scott Radicic, bangs his head there with his knee, and Chris, for a moment or so, had the lights go out. Chances are he won't come back. Normally when you have a head injury, Tim, you will not return to the game. Teams like to take extra precautions when those injuries occur.
First and 10 for the Lions, and a collision there in the miscue. Peete pulls out of it well and hits his man Perriman. First down. Good effort by Rodney Peete. And now looks back at Mike Utley, the pulling tackle, and says, hey, I'm on your side. 14-yard pass play.
You have to know right from left is what he's probably telling him. I don't know what the call was in the huddle, but watch the right guard, number 60, Utley, come out there and bang Peete. Apparently he didn't realize which side he was rolling out to, and fortunately they came out of it with a good gain.
First down Lions to their 45-yard line. Alan Grant has replaced Good on the corner. That pass complete to Clark. Another Lion first down to the 38-yard line of the Colts. Michael Ball, number 31, on the tackle. 17-yard gain.
What teams like to do against the Lions in the silver stretch offense is take their receivers and force them to the outside. And they don't want to allow them to come inside where you have these big gaping holes. But today, the Lions have had some success getting in there. Robert Clark that time on the crossing pattern, wide open.
Latest word on Harry Cash, the tight end for the Colts, broken ankle. He won't be back. Foley will have to go to this one. Sanders, loose ball. Colts have it. Mel Agee and Dwayne Bickett put the tackle on Sanders and forced the ball loose. Recovered by Jeff Herrod, which should be no surprise.
Big play, Tim. We talked again about Sanders having tape on his hands. Looks to me like this might be a case where the tape was a liability. You'll see number 90 makes a hit in there. The ball comes out, and the Colts wind up with another turnover.
Third turnover by the Lions, 2 interceptions, one of them leading to a field goal. And once again, like the other one, they have their offensive drive planted in Colts territory at the 35.
He's being reviewed by instant replay.
Well, replay wants to look at it. Bill Stanley is the replay man. And again, the question here, was he down before the ball came loose?
You couldn't have a better man in the replay booth. Art McNally to your far right. The man
With the
with the glasses.
25-second clock, operator, reset it to 14, please. 14 on the 25-second clock.
For a number of years was the supervisor of officials in the National Football League. He was the guru. Anytime you had a question about rules, go to Art McNally.
Play stands as rule.
Because he was the man who, for all practical purposes, interpreted the rule book to the last letter for many years in the National Football League.
First down from the 35 as the play stands. Dickerson cut it back and he blasts out for about 3 or 4 yards. Chris Spielman waiting for him there, and underneath the stack, Tracy Hayworth and Dennis Gibson.
Jerry Ball penetrated as well, too, Tim. Again, he's having a big day against Baldinger, the center, number 62. Really hasn't played center since 1988. He played guard. He's talking utility. The lineman with the Dallas Cowboys at one time. And here he draws a pretty tough assignment going against Jerry Ball, who's number 1 or 2 in the league as a nose tackle.
Kelvin White and Kevin Scott into the Lions secondary. George, deep sideline, and almost picked up. Clarence Verdun, the intended receiver. Melvin Jenkins, the man who nearly had himself an intercept.
There's some defensive backs you stay away from with deep passes, and Melvin Jenkins may be one of those people. He's the best single coverage man on this Lions defense. Now, good position, stride for stride with the receiver Verdun, and really Verdun did a pretty good job of breaking up what could have been an interception for the Lions.
Jenkins, a Plan B free agent from Seattle. And the Lions may get Terry Taylor back. And the Seahawks trying Jenkins, they let Taylor go to the Lions. George is set. Pulled down from behind by number 97, Jeff Hunter. Second-year man from Albany State. So the Lions defense comes up big after the fumble by Sanders.
Jeff Hunter, number 97, working to the outside on the offensive tackle, DeFrost Moss. Now, what Moss has to do is make contact with Hunter, stop him, and then drive him past the quarterback. Hunter came up scot-free for the big sack. And
General Manager Jim Irsay can't be too pleased about that offensive series for the Colts. It's a lead by 3, and it's going to be picked up by the Lions into the end zone. Touchdown, unless, let's wait and see. Herb Welch picked up the loose ball. Is it a fumble? If it's a fumble, it's a touchdown, but the officials are pointing back at the point where the punter, Ron Stark, was down. The high snap from Mark Cannon, who's a backup snapper here, just joined the team this week. Let's see what happens. Okay, now he's hit. Is that a fumble, Herb?
Yeah.
Herb, what do you think?
It looked like he was down before the ball came out, but I have never seen so many defenders come through on punt protection. I don't think the Colts blocked one man up there. There must have been 6 white shirts right in front of the punter's face before he had a chance to even set to kick the ball. Stark didn't have a prayer.
Again, with Ray Donaldson gone to injured reserve after an injury last week, you mentioned Brian Baldinger now the center. They signed Mark Cannon this week, a former Packer-in-Chief, to snap on punts and field goals. Got that one up high, and with that flood of Lions coming in, Stark had no chance to get the punt away, but it looked very much like a fumble to me, and if it was, Herb Welch will have a touchdown for Detroit. It's being replayed now. The replay officials checking it out.
The key here, of course, Tim, is Stark was on the ground when the ball came out. Of course, there's a dead ball right there. If the ball came out as he was going to the ground before he made contact, then it's a fumble and a free ball. Should be Detroit's ball for a touchdown. Here's the ruling. All right, here's the replay.
Boy, that sure looks like a fumble to me.
Tim, I agree with you. It looks like the ball came out before he hit the ground. This should be a live ball, and the Lions had the football.
Well, they get the ball here for sure, but it's first down at the 7-yard line. Rodney Peete, 14-20 with 2 interceptions. Runs it out of the pocket, and Peete gets to the 1-yard line.
Another dimension Rodney Peete adds to this offense, a quarterback draw, just taking about 4 steps back, allowing that defensive line to penetrate, gets a good block out of his center. Number 53, Glover, comes right off that block inside the 5-yard line.
14 yards. First and goal from the 2-yard line. Up to that group to try and blast it in now for a Detroit lead. They trail by 3. We're in the third period. Blockers in short yardage. What's the Sanders? He doesn't need any blockers. Touchdown. So the Detroit Lions take the lead, following up the miscue on the high snap and non-punt.
This is like a simple play, but here comes Peete down the line. He'll pitch the ball off to Sanders. Now the key is right here. This man has to make a commitment to either take the quarterback or the pitch-out man. In pro football, you don't see this play very often. If you have an effective running quarterback, you can do this. All right, so the defense sucks in on the pitch. Easy touchdown for the Lions.
Murray's point after is good, and the Detroit Lions lead it 14-10. 9:47.
I always thought luxury cars that knew how to attack a road came from Germany.
European and Japanese coupes seem like they're built to a higher standard.
They say America's never built a luxury coupe that compares to the world's best. The 1992 Cadillac Eldorado is here, and one spirited drive will convince you there's never been a car like it.
Breaks down, and Barry Sanders has a walk in the park.
$16 yards and just 2 plays, all it required. After the non-punt by Ron Stark. George took some time, and that's nearly picked up. Dennis Gibson surprises anybody to find the ball right there. George off the mark, or somebody running the wrong route.
That's the first bad throw we've seen from him today, though, Tim. He's a very accurate passer. This time, he tries to get the ball over the linebacker, and really his vision was partially obstructed there, so he couldn't really see the linebacker there. That happens a lot when you're standing in the pocket. Even though George is a big quarterback at 6'4", those linemen in front of him are 6'6", 6'7", and 6'8". And when they get close to you and raise your hands, it's like trying to throw out of a well. You can't see.
Now that replay we just had there graphically showed that. He didn't have good vision on the play. Nearly cost him an intercept. 2nd and 10. Dickerson nailed behind the line. Tracy Tracy Hayworth running over Big Bubba Parrott, the second-year linebacker playing for the injured Michael Koper.
What an exciting player Tracy Hayworth is. He's all excited about playing today, substituting for a Koper who's out with an injury. And yesterday he told us, one of the things I do when I'm not playing football is I'm raising a pet cougar. Can you imagine that? He's got a cougar about 50 pounds. It's going to be about 250 when it's grown up.
Yeah, he hasn't got a name for that animal yet. I bet a lot of Lions fans can help out Tracy there with some suggestions. Let me see that cat. This is beautiful. Third down and 15. Screen pass. Jordan. Make it Johnson. Pardon me. Johnson, number 23. Good play. It'll leave them short, however, by about 2 yards. A punting situation for Indianapolis. Benny Blades on the tackle. Well, let's see what happens now as we watch Mel Gray waiting for the ball at the 20-yard line.
You're coming after it again, Tim.
Good snap by Cannon and another dandy punt by Stark. Bearcat signals. Dropped by Gray, and he just managed to recover the ball.
Really good judgment by number 31, Michael Ball. Instead of going to the returner, as many people will do and run into him, he decided to open up and run past him to just distract his vision just for a second. Almost worked.
In trying to make an artistic statement.
First down, Lions. Gary Sanders picked up about 4 yards on the play. Well, some say that Sanders is king of the jungle, but he met his match at a recent magazine cover shoot. He was introduced to a real lion.
Really concentrate. Okay? You've been up against bigger and meaner things than him.
Well, after those encouraging remarks, Sanders still looked a little nervous, but put the pads on and got through it. So he's on magazine cover. And here's Sanders again, picking up about 4 yards.
I guarantee you, Tim, he feels more secure on the football field than he did holding on to that lion.
I would agree with you. He still looked a little tentative. But he hung in there, and so he wound up on Sports Illustrated for Kids cover. Pride of the Lions. He is indeed. Third down and 3. Crowd exhorting that Colts defense has done a good job today. Went through the first 3 games of the year. Play action. Pete's got running room, and then a good reaction. Scott Radisick, the linebacker, stopped him short of the first down.
Tim, it's really an outstanding play by Radisick, who's normally an inside linebacker. It's tough to make a play on a pretty quick runner, particularly on an AstroTurf, trying to get them outside in. So Radisick had to come from his inside position, contain Pete, and then run it, and then drive him back inside. Real neat play.
First punt of the game for the Lions, Mike Arnold. And the deep man waiting for it is Clarence Verdun. Well, we saw Ron Stark with nearly a block. He just never got the punt away. Wound up coughing up a fumble. Arnold got one avoiding it, and he launches one, and that was bobbled by Verdun, and it'll go to the goal line. Melvin Jenkins knocked him out at about the 1-foot line.
I am surprised, Tim, to see Verdun make a play like that. 2 or 3 keys for a punt returner. Standing on the 10-yard line. If you have to take 1 step back, let the ball go. If it goes in the end zone, you have a touchback. Here, the Colts are in trouble.
The Battles of October. The lead
champion from their goal line. Ron Meyer cannot be pleased with Clarence Verdun, but remember, Verdun made two big plays on the opening drive that led to the Colts' opening score. Did he get out?
No. I knew it.
They may have a safety in there.
I knew it, Tim. I knew it. Jerry Ball has been penetrating the entire game. Ryan Baldinger is having a difficult time containing him. And when Ball decides he wants to knock over a center, there's not a center in pro football that can keep him from penetrating. And on that play, he made up his mind he was going to get every bit of the ball he could get. He's right on the nose of the football. Now watch Baldinger. Back, 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 back. Here comes number 93. Dickerson doesn't get out of the end zone. Big play.
Jerry Ball playing with a hamstring injury, practiced only once this past week, but he has a secret tonic that he got from his linebacker friend Toby Castone. Concoction prepared with herbs and extract by Dr. Ping, it says here. Castone believes in it, and Jerry Ball says, why not give it a try?
I wonder if Dr. Ping is some kind of a voodoo doctor or something, but Spielman also uses that stuff to rub down himself too. But what Ball, again, the key here is he gets under Baldinger, raises him up, and pushes him back. Once a defensive lineman gets under an offensive lineman, he loses leverage, can't block. The only place he can go is backwards. And Jerry Ball winds up with a couple of points.
Brian Baldinger in there for the injured Ray Donaldson, remember, is gone for the year. An injury last week. Broken leg.
You know, Tim, in our meeting with Ball the other night, I was talking about how he does that. And he put his hand up. He says, if I want to stop a guy from going left, I put my left hand out and jam that shoulder, you can't go. I put my right hand out, I jam that shoulder, you can't go. And tell you, when he hit me, it was like running into a tree trunk. The guy is strong.
He is a big, strong guy who can really motor for such a huge man. Now, Eric Dickerson was charged with an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at the end of that play. And so they will have to make their punt following the safety from back at their 10-yard line. So the Colts really burned themselves, giving up the safety for a 6-point line margin, and now Stark having to punt from the 10. I didn't see the flag come down on Dickerson. Not Stark's best punt. Overton to the 36-yard line. John Overton, reserve running back. And now the unhappy Hoosier Dome crowd getting the boos out. 18-yard return.
When it rains, it pours, Tim. First you get the safety, then you get a penalty. You punt with your back to your own goal line, and the Lions inside the 50-yard line are in great field position. Looks like the ball's on the 31-yard line.
Well, the Lions have made a change of quarterback. We'll have to get word on Rodney Pete here. It is Eric Kramer, second-year man from North Carolina State. We've had no word on Rodney Pete. Kramer's in there at least for the time being. And Kramer hits on his first pass to Perriman, and a Lion first down. 20-yard line.
Tim, I'm sure this is not a planned substitution because Pete was expected to go all the way in this game, and the game as close as it is, I can't imagine Ponce would take him out unless he has some kind of an injury problem.
Well, Kramer, a free agent a year ago, was on injured reserve most of the year. When he got healthy, ready to go to camp this year, he beat out Bob Galliano. They moved Galliano along. And, of course, Andre Ware is the number 3. Kramer's experience has been primarily in the Canadian Football League. 26 years of age. North Carolina State. Hits on his first pass. Gives it to Sanders. Sanders, nice running by Barry Sanders down close to the 10-yard line. And scanning that far side, trying to get a picture of Rodney Pete. We don't see him over there on the Lions bench.
Kramer, though, Tim, had a very effective training camp for the Lions. As a matter of fact, he jumped ahead of Andre Ware during training camp, has complete control of this offense. The only thing they lose when he's in the game versus Pete is that he doesn't have the great running ability Pete has. He has a complete understanding of this offense, and he's very effective with it.
Well, and this is a basic style in the Canadian Football League, too. A lot of passing. Extra receiver with the 12-man rosters. Sanders stopped short of the first down by about a yard, and we do now have word on Rodney Peete that he's just in the locker room for an equipment repair and should return. So Kramer having to step in here while Rodney went to the locker room. I'd be curious to know what equipment repair would take him all the way to the locker room in a situation like this. We'll try and find out for you, but Kramer's the man at the controls, 3rd and 2. Horton and Cannell in their heavy lineup for the Lions. And Kramer to Willie Green, touchdown. What a nice catch by Willie Green. He had Daniel all over him, and Kramer put the ball right there.
That was a strike, Tim. That ball had to be thrown the way it was thrown to be completed because Daniel had excellent inside position on Willie Green, and it looked like it went between Daniel's hands into Green's arm. Watch this throw again. Now, Kramer shut up, throws a dart. Green comes back for it, spins him up to 360, makes the catch, and Daniel is saying, what in the world happened? Terrific coverage.
Willie Green's 3rd touchdown pass, his first catch of the day in the game, and he made it a score. He made a big one like that last week. And now the replay officials are apparently examining it to see if he was inbounds and in the end zone. The ball came down right at the goal line. It appeared to me to be just inside the end zone, and the question would be whether he had both feet inside the sideline. The replay having a look at it, and Eddie Murray waiting to kick the point after.
It's really interesting, Tim, that Willie Green had a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's there.
Touchdown. Had a lot of trouble catching the football last week. He dropped 3 balls before finally hanging on to a couple for touchdowns, but now he's made really a key play there for the Lions.
Well, he's trying to keep that number 1 pick Herman Moore on the bench. Willie Green currently playing ahead of the rookie. Murray for the point after. And it's good. So the Lions widen the margin now after trailing 10-0 in this game. They lead 23-10.
All Green is doing is he wants to fly upfield and try to get inside position of the defensive back. Now this ball has to be thrown really to the outside to make sure he has a chance to get it and not have the defensive back pick it off. Now watch the delivery. He goes, get outside position. Now turn inside if you can. There he is. He's got the inside position he wants for the touchdown. It's like a basketball play. Just shield yourself between the defender and the ball for the completion.
Rodney Peete has returned to the field, and we're sure he'll be back in action. There's Willie Green, who just came up with the score. And Rodney says, hey, Eric, I missed it. What happened out there? Anyway, you must have thrown a good one.
Yeah. Well, that's one advantage of having a big receiver. Green is about 6'2", and he can stand next to most defensive backs and just turn his back and shield them from the ball. And that play just worked to perfection. Mr. Kramer has to be happy with this series of plays.
I guess Wayne Fonts is too.
I wonder what Andre Ware is thinking right now.
Eddie Murray will kick it off. The Lions, who trailed 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, scored 23 unanswered points. Clarence Verdun. Verdun shakes loose. Good return. Breaking the tackle and picking up an extra 9 yards. And no doubt trying to make up for his miscue down at the goal line on the punt. Ray Crockett forced him out. Tim Ryan and Irv Cross at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. 3:06 remaining third quarter. After an early lead by the Colts, leading 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, the Lions have roared back to a 23-10 lead. And the last touchdown pass came not from Rodney Peete, but from backup quarterback Eric Kramer to Willie Green. George on first down, trying to find an open man. He has. Anthony Johnson, first down, Colts.
The Lions only had a 3-man rush going, but you have to be impressed with the amount of time the Colt offensive line gave George. He reset, pump, reset, pump. He had, I would say probably 7 or 8 seconds in that pocket. Finally picked the receiver.
14 of 23 on the day for Jeff George at this point. First down at the Colts 47. Johnson caught 6 passes today for 73 yards. George getting good protection. Wobbly ball, but dug out by Perriman. Nice catch by Brett Perriman. By Brooks, Bill Brooks. Number 80 for the Colts.
Brooks working on the outside here, wants to find the open area and sort of fade in here. The defensive back, Blades, Benny Blades comes in to assist on this. So here's Brooks running a deep bend, a deep curl pattern, breaks inside there, finding the open spots for the completion.
First down, Indianapolis. Lions 34. Quick release this time. Another Colts first down. Verdane. Former Washington Redskins. Moves the ball to the 22-yard line of the Lions. 11-yard gain. Time winding down third quarter, and Jeff George moving the Colts smartly downfield. A lot of time left in this one with a 13-point Lion lead, but the Indianapolis team showing an ability to bounce right back. And out of the hands, intercepted. Out of the hands of Johnson is picked up by William White, the safety number 35. So the Colts with a tough break there. Johnson, normally a sure-handed receiver, couldn't squeeze that one.
He couldn't have thrown the ball any better. The ball hit him right in the hand, bounced out, of course, and William White came up with the interception. But Anthony Johnson, you said, Tim, normally is a sure-handed receiver. He leads his team in receptions, and that was a fairly easy catch. Just let it get away.
Take over. Rodney Peete back at the controls at the 17-yard line of Detroit. Up the middle to Farr. And it is close to a first down for Mike Farr. Dwayne Bickett made the stop, and word on Pete's journey to the locker room that his knee brace had to be retaped in there. And that's why it required him going to the locker room and obviously getting the pants off and getting underneath that the brace he wears. You can see the bulk of it there on his right leg, just below the calf. They're primarily for prevention, but he has been bothered with knee problems in the past, and they're just going to let it wind down to the end of the third quarter. With the score, the Detroit Lions 23, Indianapolis Colts 10, and our coverage continues after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
This is CBS.
Touchdown pass to Willie Green. Lions have the ball. Rodney Peete with a first down at the Lions 27-yard line. Sanders pulled down from behind. Bickett waiting for him in front. And Herod is with him all day long. They are getting to know each other very well. 70 yards rushing. You can see what a good grip they got on Barry that time.
But you try to grab anything you can get. It's really funny. Listen to the defensive player describe trying to tackle Barry Sanders. You have him lined up, you open your arms, and you whap. You get nothing but air. This time they grab a jersey, you hold on. There's Donnell Thompson hanging on there trying to wait for his teammates to come out to help him.
Now that gives Don Overton a chance to get into the game. Second-year man from Fairmont State. I guess the only way you can stop Barry Sanders taking his uniform on. Low pass caught by Robert Clark for a Lion first down at the 40-yard line. Well, they had another jersey ready. I guess they expect that that's the only way they can stop Barry Sanders is strip him.
I imagine they have quite a few number 20s over there at that trunk because nearly every week he has something ripped off of him, whether it's a jersey or shin strap or something, because you miss him. You very seldom get a clean tackle on him. And I know as a former defensive back, it's really frustrating trying to bring somebody like that down.
Well, the Colts have rushed 11 times for minus 11 yards. Flag down and checking the clock. This time on the
Ball start. 64. Prior to snap.
Eric Sanders charged with a false start. Makes it first and 15. He said the Colts are 11 rushes for minus 11 yards, so there is no contest between Sanders and Dickerson today, but of course the Lions have had the ball much of the day. And Barry Sanders now with 22 carries, 72 yards. Taylor. All he needed to explode was the New Jerseyer.
The reason why this play goes, though, Tim, is because the Colts are in a defense where they have 6 defensive backs on the field. Now, what the Lions will do, if they see that situation, Pete has the option to either throw or run. 6 defensive backs normally means pass defense. But the Lions said, nothing doing. I'll call an audible, give the ball to Barry, and let him go with it.
43 yards he went with it to the 23-yard line, and he gets another rest. Crowd has gotten quiet here as the Lions threatening again. Overton, nowhere to run in the middle. Colts stack him up after a gain of maybe a yard and a half. John Hand and Travis Davis, 78 and 95 on the tackle.
Thing you're always concerned about with a great running back, Tim, you might contain him for 4 plays, 10 plays, 15 plays. You know it's simply a matter of time before they eventually, explode for the big one. And this guy, is just a pain in the neck. The defensive coordinators, no one figured a way yet how to really contain him.
Well, and he didn't have any big gainers, but he still had 72 yards before that big one. He added another 43. Second and 8. Deep sideliner, Mike Farr holds on off a good hit and drops the ball that after he's knocked out of bounds by Radicic. And he did well to hold on against the hit from Grant. Give you an idea what it sounded like to Mike Farr, let alone what it felt like.
That kind of a hit rattles your teeth, Tim.
Maybe that's what the noise was.
Oh, boy. I lost a few of them out of the football field, I'll tell you that.
And they're going to let him come off and get a breather. I'm sure he's trying to get some air back into his lungs. First down, Lions at the 11 of Indianapolis. Sanders back in. Sanders chased out at the 5-yard line. Good pursuit by McDonald. Quintus McDonald getting a start today for the injured Chip Banks. Number 96. McDonald, Penn Stater in his 3rd year. Sanders now 114 yards, Irv, on 24 carries.
Had a big day last week, rushing for 143 yards. Now he's up to 114 now, and still plenty of time left to go in the game.
Well, I was going to say, he's approaching the number of carries he had in a full game last week, which everybody agreed was more than he wanted. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here on out. 11-17 still to go. Now, Robert Clark was making some kind of a signal out the right side when he was talking to his teammates or what? The time expired. Rodney Peete going back to, there must have been some kind of a miscue between Peete and his receivers on that play. Delay a game penalty will back him up to the 15.
the Lions have something they call a King's Run formation, where they'll bring in Fortin, number 69, as a tight end. He's out there now, and Sandell, 46, another tight end. So they're both on the field for additional blocking.
Sanders takes it wide. Can't make it to the end zone, but got down to the 3-yard line before Grant and Ball finally knocked him out.
And that's what you get when you have a two tight end type offense. Everybody is singled up man-to-man on the front, on the defensive front. And all Sanders did was come off the ball. Now watch this. The offensive line firing out one-on-one. Now pick a hole. He finds out he can't get inside with his speed and quickness, slips to the outside, and really gets into the end zone. Boy.
Well, he's short of the goal line and short of the first down. It'll be third down. Looks like they need about nearly 2 for a first down. Good defensive work by the Colts, meeting Sanders at the point of attack and driving him back. Mike Pryor came up from safety along with Jeff Hurrah, the linebacker.
Really a nice play on Pryor's part. He stepped up in the hole like a linebacker. He's only about, well, he's 210 pounds, but hits pretty well. But he hit Sanders there with a great deal of authority. There's a sense of urgency when you're down there, Tim. As a defensive player, the offense is approaching your goal line or inside the 5-yard line. You feel like, hey, now's the time to sell out.
You're also down 13 points, so you got to stop them here. A field goal try of 20 yards coming up for Eddie Murray on fourth down. Could be a big defensive stoppage for the Colts with a lot of time still to go. And it is good. Eddie Murray has widened the Colts deficit now 26-10 Detroit. Defensive point. 9:38 remains in the fourth quarter. The winless Colts are in some deep trouble. Bourdain stopped at the 19-yard line. And to get an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Tim, at Cincinnati, James Brooks is out with a sprained ankle, so look at his substitute, Craig Taylor, 34 yards and a touchdown, his second TD of the day, and the Bengals have closed to within 3 of the Redskins, 27-24, late in the third quarter, Tim.
All right, Greg. These Colts looking uphill as well here, 26-10. Detroit lead. And the Colts with Jeff George, the second-year quarterback, going to the shotgun here on first down. Flag down as George is pulled down behind the line by Tracy Hayworth. The young linebacker playing for Michael Kofer. Holding call is against the Colts. Fourth sack of the day as Robert Irsay was smiling early in this game when his team had an early lead. Not much to smile about right now.
Well, you have to really be concerned. You know, I talked to him on the elevator coming up here, Tim, before the game, and I asked him about the status of his
offense. 79, still first down.
Head coach Ron Meyer. There's been so much speculation about Meyer being dismissed here, but he said, I have a contract with Coach Meyer. I plan to honor that contract. That contract, as I understand it, he didn't tell me this, but I understand that Meyer has a contract through this year and next year, and if he makes the playoffs any one of those 2 years, it'll be extended 2 more seasons. So that's the deal right now, but who knows what'll happen.
Draw play Dickerson. Dickerson, nice running for about 12 yards. Still leaves second and about 8 to go. Wayne Font's comfortable with the changes he's made offensively to the former Mouse Davis run and shoot, and been paying dividends these last 2 weeks. They could go to 3-1 with a victory today. Perfect strike to Reggie Thornton from Jeff George. No flag. A first-year receiver out of Bowling Green. All the way to the 40-yard line of Detroit. What a pass.
George is a very effective long passer, Tim. A lot of quarterbacks have difficulty throwing a long ball, but he is more accurate throwing a long pass than he is trying to keep a shorter one. He has a high degree of completion on the long pass.
Dickerson nowhere. right at the line of scrimmage. Bubba Parrish had a holding penalty. This time got knocked on his backside. Colts fans don't want the fat lady to sing yet. And there's still time in this game, but they've got to score on this drive, realistically. Now George is sacked again. Fourth sack by Detroit. Drops them back to the 46-yard line. Jeff Hunter getting additional playoff time in passing situations. Makes another big play.
Tim, this is a tough situation for a quarterback because the Lions with a 16-point lead know the Colts have to throw the football. Just lay your ears back and get after them.
George delivers to Dickerson. Dickerson gets back about 10 or 11. Jamison made the stop on him, and the Colts go to the hurry up here. 7:40 on the clock. Trying to keep those Lions defenders from being able to substitute. George, right on the money in the middle. Jesse Hester with a good grab against two defenders, Scott and William White. That was the first down, Indianapolis. Colts continue without a huddle. Lions get Mark Spindler back on. And George, that's complete to Brooks. Gain of about 3. Billy Brooks. So the Lions defensive team having to really hustle here on their substitutions because Indianapolis, they're going with a no-huddle.
Interesting enough, though, Tim, even though the Colts are in a no-huddle offense, Jeff George is still looking to the sidelines for his play.
That one behind the intended receiver, Thornton.
George did an interesting thing that time. You know, when a quarterback gets hit a couple of times, as he has been in this game, you have a tendency to release the ball faster and faster. That time, going backwards, he threw the ball as he was going back. He never had a chance, never gave himself a chance to set up because he felt the pressure would be there.
Third down. About 7. Low snap. George going deep to the end zone, and the receiver stumbled. There'll be a flag on the defender. Sheldon White, I believe, will get called for interfering with Thornton. But there's also a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
This is one of these plays where the defensive backs are going to say, it wasn't me. That's the NFL Today had a story on that, but everybody, let's see what happens here. A couple of flags down, Tim.
Yeah, probably offsetting a likely holding call against Indianapolis.
Holding. Number 73, offense. Disregard the flag. Flag was thrown in there.
Well, which flag? The one down at the apparent interference was thrown in there. So only a holding call is going to be assessed here, and it's against Indianapolis. So things really starting to turn against them.
What happens sometimes, Tim, though, is the officials anticipate there might be a foul in the secondary, and I think really the back judge threw his flag down thinking there would be a contact, and there really wasn't. So he just picked it up and says an errant flag.
Watching it as it unfolded, it appeared that Thornton may simply have stumbled on his own and then fell against the defender. But it's a holding penalty against Moss. And now George gets it off to Dickerson. Dickerson gets maybe 8 on the play before he's buried by several Lions led by Owen.
You see a play like that, you can see what a defensive attitude is about a particular offensive player. I guess the Lions still feel that Dickerson catches the ball, let's get a lot of people around it. That tackle produced about 6 Lions.
So they have a 4th and 9, and of course they must go. And it's complete. Clarence Verdun. First down. Colts. Jeff George delivers. If they can get it into the end zone here, they can still make a contest with it. Blades made the tackle. First and goal from the 10. 26-10. Lion leads. George tips it into Brooks. A flag down as Brooks got near the 5-yard line. Defensive holding against the Lions.
Probably called on Ray Crockett, Tim. When you're down there inside the 10-yard line, defensive backs are told to seal off the inside. Don't let receivers get the quick post or quick play inside because it usually produces easy touchdowns. And Crockett, fighting to keep off Brooks, grabs the cloth.
Well, the Colts should wind up with a first down here.
Should be automatic, yeah. That's what Myers is asking for. Just get a first down and start over again.
Brooks got the ball to the 6-yard line. Half the distance would be the 5.
Defense, first down.
So it is first and goal from the 5-yard line. The defensive holding penalty, which the Colts accepted. Yard in that exchange. Dickerson doesn't make it in. William White had him by the jersey, and then Kevin Scott threw a body block at him to stop him at the 2. Dickerson has now improved to 17 yards on 13 carries. He was operating at a minus number for much of the game. George gets some time, and right at the goal line, touchdown, Dickerson. Dickerson's second score for the Colts, and it keeps their hopes alive. 4:53 still to play.
That was really an impressive drive, Sam. Again, the Colts driving the entire length of the field without a huddle. And really, when you have to go to the pass game, you couldn't have a much better quarterback throwing it than Jeff George. He indicated a number of times he was very accurate, particularly with the long pass.
He is issued for the point after. It's good. So a 9-point Lions margin now with 4:53 remaining to play in regulation time. Scored on a Jeff George to Eric Dickerson 1-yard pass after a good drive of 80 yards in 13 plays. Problem was they used up 4:47 on the clock, and so 4:53 is all that remains. Lions playing for the onside kick. And the Colts showing it here. Biasucci tees it up. Hand squat on the field. It is apparently the Lions' ball. Robert Clark. And of course the rugby scrum there to try and be the guy that comes up with it, but the signal is Detroit. 4:47 to play in regulation time. Lions by 9. Well, next Sunday we've got more doubleheader action for you. And what a pair of games you're going to see no matter where you live in the country. The Bears at Buffalo will be featured. Tampa Bay will be at Detroit. And, of course, the Niners at the Raiders. And Green Bay will be at the Rams, our doubleheader action game, too. So lots of terrific NFL excitement ahead next week here on CBS Sports. Well, Von Meyer, the Colts coach, and Irv, I guess the speculation will continue now that it would appear that he's going to be 0-4.
When I talked to him about his job, he said, Irv, in the National Football League, you don't coach from season to season or from game to game. You coach from play to play.
He's a realist. contract. Sanders. Out. Barry Sanders for a first down to the 37-yard line before Mike Pryor pulled him down, and had he not, another 6 for Detroit.
Another 6 for Detroit. The thing that impresses you about a run like that, though, is that we did a Lions game a few weeks ago, and they were running basically to the right side. And I talked to Lomas Brown, the left tackle for the Lions, who's a Pro Bowl player for them, and perhaps their best offensive lineman was at left tackle. He said, gee, I wish they'd run the ball over me once in a while. That time they did.
143 yards for Sanders. First down, Lions. Sanders again, and ducks and dodges his way inside the 30 and squirms out of the pack for an extra couple.
Wayne Fonte was concerned about how to protect the lead in this silver stretch offense. And one of the things that happened to him a year or so ago is that they would get big leads and they couldn't stop it because the offense would move so quickly. The opposing team would come back, score, and get it back. But now with the two tight end setup he has, by having Fortin come in there and Penalty come in there, they've been able to keep that ball on the ground and run out the clock with the silver stretch approach.
Well, they've got Snell out on the tight end left at the moment. And they've got Roman Fortin in there on the right, making a double tight. Sanders makes use of that blocking and has another first down. Approaching the carries he had a week ago. 3:05 to go, and Myers can only look up. See that clock
Number 1
up against him, and the Colts forced to take a timeout. 3:05 remains. We'll be back in a moment. We're at the Hoosier Dome, a quiet crowd watching as the Lions have the football and a lead, and the Colts with 3 timeouts remaining. Later, following our telecast, the Rams at San Francisco. Jim Everett has been struggling. He's got to get it going against the 49ers, who still are operating with Steve Young replacing the injured Joe Montana. Sanders with 156 yards rushing. Colts with only 4. Sanders turned around to defender, and he's going to score. Touchdown. Barry Sanders not only ran away from everybody reversing his field, but the guy who thought he had him tackled is yet to get to his feet. Quintus McDonald back out at the 26-yard line.
Tim, the only thing I can say is if you hadn't seen it, you wouldn't believe it. And I can't do a replay on this because you just have to watch it, folks. This is a work of art. It's instinct. It's a desire to get in the end zone.
Look at Pete with his hands up. He knows it's going to be a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. It's vintage Barry Sanders. Oh, boy, what a run.
Quintus McDonald is still down. He's the guy that you saw on that replay who had Sanders in his sight. Barry not only turned him around, but he wound up twisting his leg in the effort to contain Sanders.
What it's like trying to tackle Sanders when you have him in the sight, though, Tim, it's like looking at a shadow. You see a figure, but when you put your arms out to grab it, you get nothing but air, and the guy whizzes past you. I mean, he's a genius. I mean, look at this run. It's all instinct. Again, he told me as a youngster growing up, he used to play tag a lot, and the idea in their tag game was not have anybody touch you. So when he runs the football today, he wants to get into the end zone without being touched.
Murray with the point after. And the Lions have thrown it up 33-17, still 2:57 remaining. The school is out for the Colts, and the Lions are going to be looking at a handsome 3-1 record. As
he might be asking if we saw the same thing he just saw. Yeah, really. It's such a pleasure watching Barry Sanders run the football. You never know what he's going to do with it. You just know he's going to move forward. He's going to make people miss, and he gets in the end zone. I know that he couldn't describe that run himself. You just do it.
And that play started out to the right and wound up going all the way back to the left after he took it away from Quintus McDonald. Brilliant piece of work by Barry Sanders. Up to 30 carries, Robert Irsay maybe enjoyed the entertainment, but not the result. Murray's kickoff comes down at the 18-yard line. Dave McLuhan returning that one for Indianapolis, and a flag back at the line of scrimmage. May have been somebody ahead of the kicker on the play.
Offside, number 39 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
Ray Crockett was offside. Well, Murray will have to do it over again from 5 yards back. Look at this game. Washington, Cincinnati tied at 27, and the Eagles, who were down early to Pittsburgh, have taken the lead there, and Giants in a struggle against Cleveland. Bill Belichick back against his old team. Look at that, New England ahead of Houston. That's a real big surprise. Really. New Orleans shutting out Minnesota.
For the first time, Minnesota has been a jinx for the Saints, and the Saints right now are undefeated in the division. So the Rams and 49ers later today are really be concerned about that.
You said a mouthful there. They got to be very worried about the Saints. Miami on top of Green Bay. Packers playing them tough. Atlanta leading the Raiders. Eddie Murray and the Lions will kick it off again here, but from the 30-yard line this time. 2:50 to play. Jeff George and Ron Meyer planning their final 2:50 of offense. Dave McLuhan again, returning it to the 35-yard line. Well, next Saturday, Major League Baseball on CBS Sports. The Giants and the Dodgers. Dodgers locked in that pennant battle with Atlanta. And the Braves will be playing at the Astros. So you'll see one or the other. They're both key games here on CBS next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time. Here's how it looks right at the moment. The Braves a half back after a loss last night to the Dodgers. George has to complete to Brooks. Kelly Brooks getting it to the 44-yard line of Detroit. 21-yard pass by George. 24 of 35, passing 278 yards. He's done his job today. There's no faulting this young quarterback of the Colts.
The offensive line's done a reasonably good job protecting him, too, until they got so far behind that it became a foot race for the Lions' defense.
Johnson to the 35-yard line of the Lions. And we've reached the 2-minute warning here at the Hoosier Dome. The Lions 33, the Colts 17.
Quite a bit. I asked you the same question. So how secure are you here with your contract? Or about as secure as a man sitting on the deck of a Titanic.
Down at 3. And moving on both sides. Maybe the Colts threw him over. Chris Tomlin is in the lineup now at right guard for Indianapolis. This banged-up offensive line really did quite a yeoman-like job today.
Ball start, number 66, prior to the snap.
The big problem, though, Tim, was that Brian Baldinger, at center, playing that position for the first time since 1988, had to go against Jerry Ball early in the game. And Ball is truly an all-pro nose tackle, and I've seen him manhandle the best centers in the league. And Baldinger just had a tough time today trying to contain him. But for the most part, they scrapped and fought and tried to stay in it, but the Lions are just too strong for them today.
Second down and 8. George connects again. Jeff George. Anthony Johnson. 24 of 35 passing today for Jeff George. 1:43 remaining. Colts trying to make it respectable with another score before time expires. George right on the money to Johnson again, who eludes one tackler and has a first down. Indianapolis, the 17-yard line. William White is there, Jameson, and then Benny Blade.
But I'm not sure if we're going to get a whole lot better for the Colts. So with all the injuries they've suffered, and no coach says use anything for an excuse, particularly injuries. But it's a fact that the Colts team right now is a little team with injuries, particularly in the offensive line. And when you lose offensive linemen, you can lose a great pass rusher on defense. You can lose a defensive back. You can almost get away with a quarterback if you have a nice backup behind him. But you cannot lose the core of your offensive line because your entire rhythm of your offense falls apart.
George working with the 4 wideouts here, and he's got Hester for a touchdown. Jesse Hester. Well, there aren't too many folks still here to enjoy that score, but Jeff George passing downfield and connected with Hester. 43 seconds still to go, and makes the score sound better.
Nice delivery between George and Hester. You say, well, okay, sure, the Lions are giving them the short stuff, not giving them the long thing. I don't think the Lions plan to give the Colts anything. The Colts drove down and took that score. Again, an indication that this team is going to fight all the way down to the wire.
Maybe Asucci for the point after, and you have to be impressed with Jeff George and realize that the Colts, whether they gave up too much to get him in the deal and so on, they brought him here. Nonetheless, got themselves a quarterback for the future that any team in the NFL would be glad to have. He looks like he's going to be a real good one for a long time. Here's Jeff George, calm, confident young guy, and obviously not happy with the way this team has gone, but he did his part. Barry Sanders, well, those numbers speak for themselves. He'll be on some more covers, with or without a real Lion.
You know, the amazing thing about it, he does this very quietly, sits on the bench very quietly. His biggest concern is to have the Lions win. He doesn't care if he doesn't gain an inch during the course of a ball game. As a matter of fact, I've seen him come out of games when he could have gone for records and everything else. He said, I don't want the record. Let somebody else run and play. As long as they win the ball game, that's the only thing that matters to me. He's a consummate team player.
Terrific guy, terrific player. More football ahead on our doubleheader action today. The Rams of San Francisco, great rivalry. Out at Candlestick Park today. With Steve Young and a quarterback duel with Jim Everett, who's been off to a slow start. John Robinson trying to get defense going as well with Jeff Fisher, the new coordinator there. Colts will try another onside kick with 43 seconds to go. Eagles the final 23-14 over the Steelers today. Good job by Detroit again. Sheldon White make it Robert Clark, number 82, making the catch and making sure that it didn't go anywhere else, and then took a hit and he's a little slow to get up. There's that final of the Eagles. Jim McMahon, another victory for Philadelphia. Giants had to outlast Cleveland at home. Super Bowl champs get to 2-2, but hasn't been easy.
First, Belichick, of course, knows the Giants pretty well as the defensive coordinator there, and almost put together a win for the Browns. Clark is on the ground there with his fists folded. He has bad fingers on both hands, and he can't put if he puts his hands down flat on the ground, it hurts. It's amazing. The guy is one of the leading receivers, made a lot of big plays for them. Right now, he has another problem other than his hands. But that's how he gets up. When he gets on the ground, he has to make a fist and just push himself up that way because the pressure on his fingers was too great.
Well, it's not a pleasant day outside for Colts fans either. Those that left early went right into a rainstorm. It's been that kind of day in Indiana for the Hoosiers. Clark is up and apparently all right. There's a good look at Jeff George. And Clark may have had that ball squeezed against him by a pile of Colts lying on top of him as he had the ball underneath, making sure that he didn't top it up. Colts haven't had this bad a start since '86, but they haven't had good starts in recent years, and it's hard to climb out. From 0-4, their season in terms of the playoffs is virtually gone. Now the question, may be to let you go in there to George, or you keep George working? I mean, I'm sure the fans and the media here are going to raise that question, among others, after this game is over. Rodney Peete just will use it up here. 42 seconds to go. Lions will be heading home with a proud 3-1 start, and they play Tampa Bay next. Robert Irsay.
Tim, I remember seeing really great football teams go through problem periods. Not, you're 0-3, you're 0-4. Now, I remember Pittsburgh when Chuck Noll came there. His initial year had a terrible record with the Steelers. I remember Tom Landry struggling in Dallas, but they both came through and developed championship teams. I think when a club gets to this point where you're having all kinds of problems with injuries, you're having trouble trying to win a football game, you stay the course. You stay the course, you try to build and work your way out of it. And frankly, the coach's biggest problem simply is getting people back on the football field. When you have as many injuries as they had, it's just hard to expect somebody to come in off the street and fill in for somebody and be effective. It's tough to do.
Well, that's what lies ahead for Ron Meyer. And these folks have decided with 37 seconds left that they're going to start believing again next week, I guess. On second down, whistles everywhere. They ought to be able to just kind of concede defeat in these circumstances. This thing takes forever. You got whistles and fractions, whatever. All they're trying to do is to finish off the game. It's certainly not the most pleasant moment in the National Football League when you watch the end of a game like this. Smile from Coach Ponce, finally acknowledging his victory here. 30 seconds, that ought to do it. The Colts are shaking hands already. You saw Herod shaking hands with Mike Utley. And these Detroit Lions can go home and look for 2 home games against Tampa Bay, Minnesota. Feel pretty good about the start they've had. Remember, they were beaten 45-0 in their debut this year against Washington. Things a lot different, and Wayne Fonts, I'm sure, some sympathy for the start that Ron Myers had, and owner Bob Irsay, not a happy man. Well, for Irv Cross, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from the Hoosier Dome. For our final score, the Lions 33 and the Colts 24.